In recent years, there has been a renewed national conversation about the legacy of slavery and the need for reparations to address the injustices of the past. In San Francisco, a group of city supervisors has expressed support for an ambitious reparations plan that would include a $5 million lump sum payment for each eligible Black person, among other measures. The plan was developed by the San Francisco Reparations Advisory Committee, which was created last year to study the issue of reparations and recommend a course of action for the city. The committee's report, released earlier this year, identified several areas where reparations are needed, including housing, education, and healthcare. The $5 million lump sum payment would be the centerpiece of the reparations plan, and would be provided to eligible Black people who can trace their ancestry to slavery in the United States. The money would be paid out over a period of 10 years, with the first payment being made immediately upon approval of the plan. San Francisco's Board of Supervisors have voiced support for an ambitious reparations plan that includes a $5 million lump sum payment for each eligible Black person, among other measures. The draft reparations plan, which is unmatched in its specificity and breadth, has over 100 recommendations including guaranteed annual incomes of at least $97,000 for 250 years in homes in San Francisco for just $1 a family. The board has voiced enthusiastic support for the ideas, with some saying money should not stop the city from doing the right thing. However, the Tuesday vote does not mean all the recommendations will ultimately be adopted, as the body can vote to approve, reject or change any or all of them. A final committee report is due in June. In addition to the lump sum payment, the reparations plan would also include several other measures designed to address the ongoing effects of slavery and systemic racism. These measures include housing assistance. The plan would provide housing assistance to eligible Black families who have been affected by redlining and other discriminatory housing policies. This assistance would include funding for down payments and closing costs, as well as rental subsidies for those who need them. Education. The plan would provide funding for scholarships and other educational opportunities for eligible Black students, as well as support for historically Black colleges and universities. Healthcare. The plan would provide funding for healthcare services and programs aimed at addressing the health disparities that affect Black communities. Business development. The plan would provide funding and support for Black-owned businesses, including loans, grants, and technical assistance. Opposition to the reparations plan has also emerged. Some opponents argue that the proposal is unfair to non-Black residents who may also have faced discrimination in San Francisco's past. Others contend that the plan is too expensive, and that the funds could be better used to address other pressing issues facing the city, such as housing and homelessness. Critics have also argued that reparations programs can be divisive and may not effectively address the root causes of racial inequality. They argue that reparations could be seen as a form of handout, and that a better approach would be to focus on creating equal opportunities for all residents regardless of race or ethnicity. Some have also questioned the legality of a city-led reparations program, arguing that the issue of reparations should be addressed at the national level, with Congress taking the lead. Additionally, there are concerns about how the program would be funded, and whether the proposed funding sources, such as property taxes or new taxes on businesses, would be feasible or sustainable in the long term. While there is broad support for the idea of reparations for Black Americans who have suffered from centuries of systemic racism and discrimination, there are also concerns and opposition to specific proposals. It remains to be seen how San Francisco's reparations plan will ultimately be implemented and funded, and what impact it will have on addressing racial inequality in the city. It is difficult to provide an exact figure for how much San Francisco taxpayers would have to pay for the reparations plan since it depends on several factors, such as the number of eligible Black residents, the specific amount of the lump sum payments, and the duration of the program. However, based on the information available, we can make some estimates. According to the 2020 U.S. Census, the Black population in San Francisco is approximately 4% of the total population, which is around 26,000 people. If each eligible Black person were to receive a $5 million lump sum payment, the total cost of the program would be $130 billion. However, it is unlikely that the program would include every single eligible person, so this figure is likely much higher than the actual cost. The city has not yet announced how many Black residents will be eligible for the program, but based on the model of similar programs in other cities, it is likely that the number will be much smaller. For example, Evanston, Illinois, another city with a reparations program, is offering up to $25,000 in housing grants to eligible Black residents, and estimates that around 400 people are eligible for the program. If we assume a similar number of eligible Black residents in San Francisco, and each person were to receive the maximum grant of $5 million, the total cost of the program would be $2 billion. It is important to note that the city of San Francisco has not yet released detailed information about the program, including the specific amount of the lump sum payments and the number of eligible residents. Therefore, these estimates are based on limited information and should be treated as rough approximations. If the program does go ahead and the cost is in the billions of dollars, the city would likely have to find ways to fund it, such as through a combination of tax increases, budget cuts, or borrowing. It is also possible that the city would seek funding from external sources, such as philanthropic organizations or the federal government. Ultimately, the cost of the program would be borne by San Francisco taxpayers in one way or another, but the exact amount and the method of funding are yet to be determined.